In the know, non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
All right, Vikings Vent Line. Every weekend right here on Purple Daily. What's going on? Declan Goff here, the executive producer of Purple Daily and Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. Vikings Vent Line. It is a yearly show. It started as a post-game tradition on the radio side. It's now obviously morphed into a YouTube phenomenon, if you will, and also on your podcast feeds, Apple, Spotify, the Score North app. After every Vikings game, Mackie, Judd, and myself like to bring on Vikings fans to talk about the game. And then during the off season, I host an edition where I like to bring on Vikings fans to also talk about the past season, the upcoming season, off-season moves, drafts, etc. So if you'd like to get in on a future episode of Vikings Vent Line, you can just shoot me a note, shoot me an email. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Dex's Tweets if you'd like to join a future show. Again, we're going to carry this show all the way up to week 1 of the season against the Bucs. So if you want to get in on a future episode of Vikings Vent Line, please hit me up. Go for it. It's vikingsventline@gmail.com. This episode also sponsored by my friends at Aquaside. If you got a nice lake property there, you got a pond at your house, and you realize that, there's some nasty lake weed or algae, go hit up my friends at Aquaside. It'll help you diagnose and take care of that nasty lake weed and algae. Go to aquaside.com. They have Aquaside pellets, to do-it-yourself product. They will walk you through how to use it, and it's a safe product, registered with the DNR as well. So go check them out. It's Aquaside and aquaside.com. The more you can help out our Purple Daily sponsors, the more we keep the lights on here at Purple Daily. So shout out to everyone who helps us keep our sponsors happy and whatnot. We appreciate them. Hit that 5-star review too on Apple. Hit the like button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. All right, let's fire this up here. I got my guys Adam. I got my guys Okuni here to give us another edition of Vikings Vent Line. Okuni, you're a veteran, man. You've been on a lot of editions of Vikings Vent Line, but I believe this is the first off-season one you've been on this year. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys for having me.
And then you're in, correct me if I'm right here, I remember this. You're in St. Paul, right?
No, I'm in Owatonna, where Federated was first founded. So, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. And then, Adam, you said you're up north, near my favorite city of Duluth, but you're just a little south of it. So, actually, you're still in my realm there.
Right.
But you said you just discovered Purple Daily. We were talking off mic just in the last 6 months. So, welcome to Purple Daily, man. I'm excited to talk to you here.
Yeah, me too. I haven't missed an episode. I listen every single day.
Nice. Did you catch any Vent Line episodes during the regular season or the playoffs at all?
No.
Okay. Well, you're in for a treat once that rolls back around. As Okuni can attest, and as a lot of our listeners can attest, it's our hottest and most fun episode we do. We go live right after Vikings games. We bring fans on the screen with us, just like we do kind of here. So go check those out. I know we're only like 3 months away from the NFL season already opening up. We're like halfway through basically the meat and bones of the off season here. So should be a very, very exciting time. Fellas, I want to kick around this one for you. What should the Vikings do with Kirk Cousins here? So he's entering a lame duck year, essentially. He does not have an extension. To put it very bluntly, should the Vikings extend Kirk Cousins? Adam, how do you kind of look at the quarterback position? Do you think it'd be wise for them to continue on with Kirk? Do you think you ride it out and find someone new next year? How do you kind of feel about the Vikings' future with Kirk Cousins?
I mean, I love what the guy's done for us over the years, but the way things are going, I would like to see like a full rebuild, like trade Kirk Cousins. I'd love to see Trey Lance, just a fresh new quarterback with fresh new players. And I would be stoked if we could get a deal done somehow to get that young guy here.
Yeah, Trey Lance is an interesting one, right? I mean, everyone's been kind of wanting him to be the guy here since he's from Minnesota, and he's just kind of like behind the 8 ball basically with the 49ers, and his stock's fallen a little bit. I know he was a number 2 overall pick, but he's clearly not ready to be the starter yet. So could you buy low on him? Maybe he's the next answer. You can kind of wait it out a little bit. It definitely feels like this is the last year of Kirk, and of course an extension could come maybe even this summer or at the end of next season. But it's a really interesting dance that the Vikings are in here because they're kind of putting themselves into enter quarterback uncertainty. And Kirk's a good quarterback, certainly maybe not a great quarterback. And it's the toughest position to develop in sports and find good ones in sports too. So it's going to be an interesting ride there. Okuni, how are you feeling, man? I mean, I know you've had some opinions on Kirk before. You've seen a lot of Vikings teams. You saw him under Kevin O'Connell last year. Should the Vikings extend Kirk? Where are you kind of at?
I think yes, but it really depends on how this season goes if they don't extend him before the season starts. If he gets anywhere near the Super Bowl, I think you kind of have to give it another shot give him like a 2-year extension. But again, that's where the money comes in. I think Phil and Judd and you guys have always said, Kirk's not a bad quarterback. It's the money that he's getting paid. If Kirk is willing to, get 20, 25 a year, yeah, I don't think you're going to find a better suitable quarterback for 2025. He can take you to the playoffs. He can get you a top 10 offense. I think he could take you further in the playoffs and get you to a Super Bowl, maybe even win one. But at the money that he's at right now, that hinders the rest of the team. So that would be a no for me. But if it's 20, 25 a year, two extra years, absolutely.
Yeah. If they go on an extended playoff run, right? I mean, he kind of forces their hand there.
Yeah.
Kirk has one playoff win. It was an epic win against the Saints now 3 years ago. But at the same time, he's up there in age. Yes, he's making a lot of money. He seems okay with playing this out, which is interesting. He hasn't really been public and forthcoming about that. Rookie mini camp's coming up this week. I know he's going to talk at that for the first time in a long time this offseason. So maybe we'll get an update on how his true feelings are with that. But knowing him being kind of the corporate buttoned up type of QB he is, I'm not sure he'll tip his hand too much if he's indeed frustrated that he hasn't gotten a new contract. But if they make a playoff run, I mean, Adam, what if that happens, right? Let's say they go to the NFC title game or maybe even the Super Bowl, God willing. Does that change your opinion on how the Vikings should pursue Kirk Cousins? Or are you still for blowing it up even if they make a lengthy playoff run?
Stick to plan A.
Yeah. I understand that it would get tempting to do it. Does Jaren Hall do anything for you, Adam? Or are you still more looking at blowing it up and finding like a guy in the first or second round next year?
I really like Jaren Hall. He seems to be a level-headed, smart guy, and he, like they said, they ran the same system at BYU, I think, as Minnesota kind of does. And if KOC can develop him, there's no reason why I can't see, maybe he could be the guy.
Yeah. 5th round quarterback, like he's got a long way to go. Even Judd was saying at OTAs, he's definitely the third stringer, right? It's going to take him a little bit to develop and whatnot. Cooney, how about you, man? When they made that pick on day 3 of the draft, did that excite you? How do you kind of feel about Jaren Hall?
I wasn't sure who he was at first when we picked him, so I had to go and do some research. And yeah, I was excited after I found out a little bit about him. I do think he needs some development. So, 2-3 years just to learn the system, grow, get into the NFL weight room, get some reps under your belt. Then I think he'll be ready. I think throwing him out there, I mean, if he can't even beat Nick Mullins out there, I think he's going to need some time. But if we really had to get down to it, I'd rather just get rid of all our future first round picks for Caleb Williams. But that's a more for sure type of answer.
Yeah, that would be nuts, right? I mean, if they made the price of poker basically to go up and get one of these generational quarterbacks, that would be insane. The Vikings are kind of positioned to still be like, they should be a fringe playoff team at the very worst. They're likely picking between like 16 and 22, like they usually are. It would probably take like catastrophic injuries, like Kirk being out from the start of the year, Jefferson. No Daniil Hunter, no like mainstay on defense. Brian Flores is a flop or something. Like they would need catastrophic injuries to probably be picking in the top 5. I think it's still a good enough team where they just can't tank yet. Yeah. But man, if they forfeited all those picks to get Caleb Williams, like that's going to be nuts. That would be an absolutely nutty situation. So we'll see what happens. I've liked what Kevin O'Connell too has done, obviously with Kirk Cousins here. So we'll see what he does certainly in year 2. Speaking of the draft, they take wide receiver Jordan Addison. Nice little complimentary piece here to Justin Jefferson. I know there's a lot of needs on defense, but Okuni, did you like the Jordan Addison pick? Were you looking at someone else? How'd you kind of feel when they made that selection on night 1 of the draft?
Well, I think we all were thinking quarterback at that position, wide receiver too, if we don't go for a quarterback. And so when they, passed on Hendon Hooker and Will Levis and they chose Jordan Addison, I was absolutely excited for it. Now, expectations for this year, I'm more for bringing him on slowly. Apparently he's injured right now, so they're being overly cautious with him. I think the best route for a successful first year for Jordan Addison is just to slowly bring him into the office over the first half of the year, and have sub packages, let him learn the offense, let him get familiar with the NFL, and then let him work his way up to be to supplant KJ Osborne as that wide receiver too, because KJ is not giving it to him easy, so he's gonna have to work for it. So let him slowly build up and get comfortable over the first half of the season, and then in the second half he should have KJ supplanted as wide receiver too, and then let him shine.
I like it. Those are like, I feel like really realistic goals there for Jordan Addison, right? Like, you're not just saying, oh, he's going to step in and catch 100 balls and have 1,300 receiving yards and a bunch of touchdowns. Like, it's going to take him a little bit to get familiar with the offense. Adam, how about you, man? Did you like that pick in Jordan Addison? And then I guess, what are your kind of expectations for the rookie wideout?
Honestly, I kind of got lost in the Will Levis hype. I couldn't believe that he fell to our lap at 23. I mean, and honestly, I didn't really know a whole lot about Jordan Addison when they picked him. So I wasn't too excited immediately, but then once I watched some film and listened to some episodes about him and just kind of seen who he was, I thought it was a great fit, because what they were doing with Jefferson in the second half of the season, double team, covered up, shell, all this stuff. He just got shut down, and obviously we didn't have an answer for wide receiver 2, and it seems like this guy can definitely compliment him. Like you were saying, I don't think we should just throw him to the wolves at all. He seems to be a master route runner genius. So when he does get his opportunity to shine, I think he will, and he could be like the next Wes Welker. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great comp. And just in general, the route running, a lot of people get, I think, dazzled right by size and 40 time, and those certainly are measurables that can look like a solid wide receiver. But you look at someone like Stephon Diggs, who I knew was a 5th-round pick, but undersized, but an elite route runner who went from inactive in the first few games of the year to then being legitimately one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, because he knows how to run a route, he knows how to get separation, he knows how to do things that aren't maybe eye popping that casual fans notice, but he knows how to find his way on the football field and get open. And I think Jordan Addison being behind Justin Jefferson, and hell, even TJ Hockenson and KJ Osborne, like, it's not like they're asking Jordan Addison to step in and be the number 1 target in the offense, right? I mean, I think that's why it's such a complimentary good piece, and you can, Okuni's point, and kind of ease him in a little bit. Let me ask you guys this too. Is this probably, at least on paper, the best Vikings offense you guys can remember in quite some time? Like, I was too young to remember 98, but obviously we know who was on that team. The 09 team was pretty good. Okuni, do you feel like this is probably one of the better offenses that you've seen in the last 10 or 15 years of being a Vikings fan?
Absolutely. I mean, the 09 team is I mean, you could argue for either one, because 09 AP, Percy Harvin, Vasante Shenko, Brett Favre, and Sidney Rice. But Sidney Rice and Vasante Shenko, they were kind of 1 or 2 year wonders because Brett Favre got there. You know what I'm saying? But for this year's offense, I mean, TJ Hockenson, Justin Jefferson, best wide receiver in the league. Dalvin's gone. We're going to do running back by committee. Ty Chandler might come on as the best running back, or at least young running back coming up and showing the world who he is. Dwayne McBride might be that. And then you have a fringe top 10. I think he's top 10, but fringe top 10 quarterback in Kirk Cousins, who can just be the point guard. You don't need him to carry the team. You don't need him to be Superman. Just make the right plays, be accurate, protect the ball, and just hand it out to your playmakers and let them shine. I absolutely think it's up there with 09.
Mm-hmm. Adam, I don't know how long you've been a Vikings fan. You've probably seen a good amount of Vikings games, though, and whatnot. Is this one of the better Vikings offense that you can remember and have seen before?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited for the season to start, for sure. And I think Kirk is in a good situation. Obviously, I think he's going to take less sacks because he's going to be able to get the ball out of his hand a little faster with more weapons. and the offensive line continuity thing, they're all coming back. It's like, yeah, things could be great, and I don't see why they wouldn't be, because I'm really excited to watch what for 2023 for sure.
Absolutely. On the flip side, the Vikings defense, which has been mostly atrocious the last few seasons here. They've had Ed Donatel. They had basically the corpse of Zimmer. Now they got Brian Flores, a really respected, good D coordinator who put up some great defenses with the Miami Dolphins, helped turn around that unit. He was with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers last year. Adam, do you feel that Brian Flores can kind of help turn around this defense and make it respectable again? I guess, do you trust Brian Flores to maybe fix this defense overnight?
Well, I guess I can't really see how it could get any worse than last year. I don't know. I only know what I've heard and seen about Brian Flores the last couple months. He's if they trade Daniil Hunter and he doesn't have him, he's going to have his hands full with not having any chess pieces, for this thing to work. And all that second year talent is going to have to step up, and I can't see it being any worse. And I'm excited that we have a guy that's actually going to blitz the quarterback for once. I remember watching those games, and those quarterbacks were just sitting back there forever. And get excited about one blitz every 3 quarters. So I'm excited with his game plan, and from the sounds of it, it's going to be all or no, all in or nothing. And it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm confident. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, Cooney, how about you, man? You've seen those bad Vikings defense the last few years. To Adam's point, I don't know if it can get any worse, but at the same time, do you trust Brian Flores to kind of coach it up and make an improvement in 2023?
Absolutely. I do think our expectations have to be tempered. I do not think we're going to have a top 10 defense this year. Now 16 to 20 in that range, and average to maybe just a little bit below average, or maybe just a little bit above average defense. Absolutely. But the biggest thing for me that I think is going to be what leads us to success this year on the defensive side of the ball is similar to what was so good last year, even and what led us to those 13 wins, which I predicted correctly, if you remember last year, Declan.
You did.
Was that they were situationally great on the third downs, maybe not third downs, but 2 minutes left in the first half and second half, turnover differential, all of that stuff. If we can be good against the run, and we can be situationally great, I think we can have an average defense in all the other categories, but that's what's going to lead us to have a similar type of successful season like last year. It's just make sure, because, we have a bunch of young, unproven guys that need to step up, and, they might not. So we can't expect a top 10 defense, just average, be sound, be smart, stop the run, make turnovers, be good on third down, 2-minute drills, be good on those, and we should be successful. We should be, I think 11-6, 12-5 isn't that bad. Isn't that unrealistic of a season for us?
Man, you're still drinking that Kool-Aid. You were right last year.
Yeah, I was right.
13 wins. You said 13 wins. So. It's weird how even if they drop back to your point, let's say they're a 10 or 11 win team, but their point differential is better and people believe in them more. It's kind of weird how everyone basically didn't buy the 13 win season last year. And yeah, for sure, it was a little bit fluky. They were comeback kings, and it's hard to replicate that season after season. So they probably won't be as lucky. We don't really know in the fourth quarter. But if that defense takes just even a marginal step forward and you basically run back this offense, that's a better football team, at least on paper, right? At least perception wise, that's a better football team than the 13 win team that was kind of fluky and got blown out in some bad losses too. So it'll be interesting to see how Brian Flores for sure turns it around. Boys, before we wrap up here, any last takes? Adam, do you have anyone you want to shout out? Do you have any last Vikings take you want to get off your chest here on Vikings Vent Line? If so, fire away.
I just want to say thanks to my grandpa for bringing me onto the Vikings since I was little. And I want to thank my wife for putting up with me every Sunday, yelling at the TV, and making sure that my schedule is clear for 12 o'clock Sunday,
I love that for you. Cooney, how about you, man? Any last take? I know you gave a record prediction there, but any last take or any shout outs you want to give?
I do want to shout out my girlfriend. She sticks by me, even though when we go on road trips, I always have to play Purple Daily. She's like, "Oh, sports stuff again," and I'm like, "Yeah, just there's a new episode. I gotta listen." But so I shout out my girlfriend. I really love her. But my last take is, please do not trade or get rid of Daniil Hunter. We need him. If we're gonna go anywhere, just sign the man. Give him the money. I know he's 29, but I mean, do you see what he looks like? He's like chiseled out of marble. Yeah, like just sign him, give him the money. We're gonna need him if we're gonna make a playoff run. Just
Absolutely.
keep him.
Yeah, he's an integral piece if the Vikings want to turn things around on defense. I
Yeah.
feel you there.
Yeah.
Boys, appreciate you guys coming on Vikings Vent Line. Great takes, great stuff. If anyone's listening or watching, hit me up. If you want to be in an edition of Vikings Vent Line, it's vikingsventline@gmail.com. It's scrolling across that bottom of the YouTube page. Again, vikingsventline@gmail.com if you want to get in on a future episode. Mackie Judd, myself will be back on Monday as well. We got rookie mini camp or a mandatory camp coming up here this week too. So we'll have plenty of stuff live from TCO. Hit that subscribe button for daily Minnesota Vikings entertainment, or you want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die.